We are in Hornbeam Wood making our way on over here to the next map, and then we're going to continue to chop trees as we are wont to do. Today we're going to talk about expectation versus reality, how important it is that you look at the truth of what something is instead of the way it's advertised. So think about how there's all sorts of games out there, and they market themselves as being amazing experiences that give you a chance to go on a grand and wonderful adventure. Until you actually make an account and you install the game and you start playing, and if you're honest, you'll find out that it's actually a boring experience veiled in the promise of being extremely interesting. Now, maybe there's some other game that does not market itself as being all that interesting, but in reality, it lives up to its advertising. It lives up to what it was designed to do. So it's a good game. Now, for example, I know there's a lot of people that love the Command and Conquer original RTS game. There's a lot of people that enjoy the Age of Empires 2 franchise. And those are very old games. These are not new modern things, but people love them because they're fundamentally well-designed games and they work very well. So it's not necessarily about the graphics. It's not necessarily about how catchy it looks on the front side. It's how good does it work overall. And we have a real strong tendency to be easily swayed by the promise of something that looks really good, and then we get disappointed because right below the surface, it ain't all that much. And it's that way with the dating app that shows you the supermodel people on the advertisement for it, and they're implying that if you sign up, then, this is the person that you're going to acquire in your life as a result of signing up. And the reality is you ain't going to experience that person because that person isn't on the app. And then there's the game that has the flashy cinematic, but then when you turn on the game, you realize that trailer has no similarity to the way the game looks. There's the picture of the really juicy hamburger at the fast food restaurant that looks remarkably good compared to what you actually get at the drive-through window. And then there's all of the relationships that we do have in our life, which promise to be excellent, and then we realize that they actually are more cancerous and harmful to us than they are helpful. And a lot of people, they kind of bank on this assumption that you're not really going to tally up the cost to see how it all balances out. They want you to just take it on good faith that you've got the best deal. The insurance company doesn't want you to shop around. The car dealership doesn't want you to shop around. Nobody wants you to ask any questions, because the truth is, if you actually added up the cost, then you're going to realize that the car you're going to go buy is not worth the money, because it's going to lose value the minute you drive it off the lot. And that used car that you pay cash for and have minimum liability insurance on, turns out if it breaks down, the cost of fixing it is much lower than the cost of having that high car payment for a brand new vehicle that's depreciating quickly in value. But they don't want you to think about these things. They just want you to have this attitude, yeah, man, I got to sign up for this. I got to go for it. I can't wait. I can't think about it. I can't look too deeply into it. And if it seems like it's not a good deal, that's probably just me, because everybody else says it's a good deal. Everyone else is doing this. And that's kind of how it is. We don't really add up the cost of things, and we don't really tally up the value of things. And we tend to get sucked in based on promises and then disappointed because the reality isn't the same as the promise. So what you want to find is things that are more the opposite. Things that are undersold, undervalued, And then if you actually calculate what they're worth, you'll find that you're getting more return on investment than you realize. You realize that the thing that you are getting into is better, not worse, than what it markets itself to be. You go to the Goodwill store and you buy that piece of clothing, and on the rack, mixed in with all the other random stuff, it doesn't look special at all, and it's not very expensive. It's the $3 thing that you just drug out of there. But the truth is, it's just as valuable, just as good a quality as the $30 thing you would have got from the Kohl's or something new. It's not marketed in an appealing way, so you wouldn't think that there's any reason to be impressed with it. But the truth is, it's just as functional. And then that's a situation where you're able to have paid $3 for something that's worth $30 versus paying $30 for something that you could have got off the clearance rack for $3 if you just would have waited. And that's how it is with everything in life. Life is very much an illusion. It's filled with so many situations where we're supposed to take it on faith that what everybody says we need to jump on board with and be into is legit. And it ain't. It just isn't. Now, think about this. Think about how many people there are that are following some guru or some spiritual leader. I don't care who it is. It can be the Dalai Lama. It can be the Pope. It can be whoever it might be. It can be a religious person. It could be a political person. You got people that are all in some kind of political camp. And, everybody these days are, a Democrat or a communist or a Republican or a libertarian or whatever it is they align with. Like everybody's got something that they're all into, right? And they think that, they think that somebody's right. And that's fine. But if one of them's right, then that means the other ones are wrong, right? To some degree. No matter what side of the fence you're on, whether we're talking about politics or religion or the best brand of toothpaste, there's a lot of people out there that are wrong, right? I mean, I'm not saying which one. I'm just saying, no matter where you stand, you're going to have to concede that there's a lot of people in the world that are deceived. So, if you can have millions, billions of people lining up to follow somebody, and then you have just as many millions and billions of people in the opposite camp following somebody else. And we see this repeating over and over again. It's not just religion. It's also things like, what's better, Android or Apple? Like everybody's picking a side on something. But the math means there's a lot of people that are wrong, a lot of people that are deceived. And if you figure that most people are blindly following something incorrectly, then what is the chance that you're not? The probability is actually pretty high that you're deceived too. You just don't know it. And so it's important for us to step back, step out of the hierarchy of being defined by somebody else's opinion, and then say, what really adds value to my life? What really makes sense? What is really living up to the promise of good versus what is maybe promising good or implying that it's good, but actually doing nothing for me spiritually. It's important to do this because the world is full of deception, and picking the right side isn't going to help you to be less deceived or on a better path. You have to actually step away from all of it and understand none of it is 100% legitimate, and you have to challenge everything. So I will leave it at that. Just like that old EA slogan, I remember, used to be at the beginning of every SimCity. Every time I loaded up SimCity to play that game, that was the theme of electronic arts. Challenge everything. That was the theme. So my challenge to you is just that. Challenge everything in life, make your own decisions, and look for opportunities to find things not that are extremely high demand, extremely promising, but things that are undervalued and oversold. As with all things in life, life does have loveliness to sell. Buy it and never count the cost. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.